Welcome back to Headlines. I'm Wes Austin, and these are today's top stories. First, the Supreme Court just cleared the way for President Trump to cancel nearly $800 million in DEI-related NIH grants. Progressives say that this will be a huge blow to America's innovation sector, causing us to be stuck at only 72 genders. Then, the FBI raided the home of John Bolton in a classified documents probe. The FBI has searched Bolton's home and office, but so far a warrant has not been issued for his mustache. Next, a Democrat in Virginia shocked everyone by holding up a blatantly racist Jim Crow-style sign to attack Winsome Earl Sears, who is a black woman. And then she needed a guy to whisper to her that the sign was a bad idea. That's like needing a lifeguard to tell you that drowning isn't a good swimming technique. And finally, Gavin Newsom is out here threatening to punch Republicans in the mouth, which is bold coming from a guy whose toughest fight so far has been trying to open a jar of organic salsa. And then we go to the comment section. The first comment is on the segment we did about the California redistricting maps, where no one would say who was going to actually draw them. We're going to actually look at some polling data to see how it looks so far. And then the other segment that we're going to look at is on the Cracker Barrel logo. Someone said to look at the stock price. There was someone who mentioned that. So we're going to see how their stock has been doing since their new rebranding. Okay, let's dive in. The Supreme Court has cleared the way for President Trump to cancel nearly $800 million in NIH grants that were tied to DEI programs. The decision partially lifts a district judge's ruling that had blocked the administration from moving forward with these cuts. Democrats are furious because now scientists might actually have to cure diseases instead of curing whiteness. Examples of grants that were canceled include one that funded controlled puberty in transgender adolescents and another one that funded Buddhism and HIV stigma in Thailand. Apparently, we needed $2 million to prove that the Dalai Lama doesn't hand out condoms. The case stems from an executive order President Trump signed requiring agencies to terminate grants that promote gender ideology or immoral race and sex-based preferences under the guise of so-called DEI efforts. So, moving forward, if your science project involves drag queens and glitter, you might not be getting a grant. FBI agents raided the home of former National Security Advisor John Bolton early Friday morning as part of a high-profile classified documents investigation. The agents said that it was the first time they've ever had to read someone their rights while dodging flying walrus whiskers. The probe is focused on the possible mishandling of classified information. It was originally launched in 2020, but the Biden administration later shut it down for political reasons. The investigation stems from allegations that Bolton unlawfully disclosed national security secrets in his 2020 memoir titled The Room Where It Happened. Bolton's editor suggested the title, The Room Where I Probably Should Have Knocked First, but marketing said that it was too long. At an Arlington County School Board meeting about boys being able to use the girls' bathroom, a Democrat held up a racist sign directed at Winsome Earl Sears, who is a black woman and the Virginia Republican nominee for governor. Here is the sign this liberal held up. Hey Winsome, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. Later, this woman started to receive word that her sign was getting a lot of attention.
Thank you. Okay, apologies for the speaker, please.
Did you see that? That guy had to clarify that it was negative attention. Like, was there a question in her mind that it might be positive? She had to be told that her sign was racist. That's like Jeffrey Dahmer needing a buddy to lean over and whisper, hey, eating people, not a great look. Gavin Newsom is threatening to punch Republicans in the mouth. While on the Siren podcast, Newsom got heated when he started talking about the redistricting happening in Texas, and then he said this.
I'm sorry, I know some people's sensibilities. I respect and appreciate that. But right now, with all due respect, we're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're going to punch these sons of in the mouth.
Oh, amen to that.
Gavin's talking about punching people when the most violent thing he's ever done is aggressively squeeze avocados at the farmer's market. We're not scared, but we are worried about his manicure. And now on to the comment section. So the first few comments we have are on the segment that we did about the California redistricting maps, where no one would say who actually drew them. So we have a couple of funny comments first wanted to look at. This is from Becker Abstracts. Nobody knows who drew the maps, but it is clear that crayons were involved. That was good. Then the next one is from TumTum9815. It was a collaboration between a bull and his excrement. Well done. I like that one. Okay. And then this is from Hannah, R3I9B. I'll just say Hannah. Come on, California, vote down the gerrymandered map that Newsom wants. And so at that point I thought, let's look at the current polling. It could change drastically, but let's just look to see where the polling is right now and recently. This is from Politico, which is really left. But anyway, this is one of the few things that actually had some kind of polling on it. Poll, California voters back independent congressional maps, complicating Gavin Newsom's redistricting push. And this is a little snippet from that article. I think this was from about a week ago on Politico. California Governor Gavin Newsom faces a major hurdle in his... hurdle? Did I say hurdle weird? Sorry, let me do that again. California Governor Gavin Newsom faces a major hurdle in his quest to revamp his state's congressional lines, according to a new poll. California's deep support for its current independent redistricting commission. By nearly a 2-to-1 margin, voters prefer keeping an independent line drawing panel to determine these states' House seats. Okay. So at that point, they really want this independent commission. But here's kind of, I think, what Democrats are trying to do in California. And this is from that same article. California Democrats have also promised not to do away with the state's independent redistricting commission entirely. So here's like the fake out, right? Well, we're not getting rid of it. Instead, they plan to ask voters to approve a constitutional amendment that would put new maps approved by the legislature in effect for the 2026, 28, and 30 election cycles. And then I guess the independent commission would kick back in. So that's just so lame, but it's probably going to really help. It's like, we want an independent commission. We're not getting rid of it, just for the next 3 elections. And we promise we won't do it again. So stupid. Anyway, and I did read that there's an internal memo that one of Gavin Newsom's pollsters gave Gavin that said that 57% of California voters now express support for this redistricting measure, which I think is Proposition 50. And I don't know how accurate that is, but that was out there in the press. And I think what they're trying to do is say, no, we have to combat Trump because of Trump, and you get a lot of Democrats in California that just go crazy and do anything as soon as you say Trump. So it's about Trump, and also look at what Texas did. So we're just responding to that. So, and we're just going to do it for the next 3 elections. So that apparently has been helping in the polling in California. But I know we've got Arnold Schwarzenegger and this other guy, I don't know who he is, but he's got tons of money that are going to be fighting this redistricting, so I hope they can stop it. Okay, on to the Cracker Barrel logo. So this was a comment from Deborah Westmoreland, 787, and yet their stock prices dropped like a rock. Can anyone say Bud Light? So I thought let's just take a quick look at this. This is actually from Fox Business. Cracker Barrel stock plunges amid logo change backlash. And this is, I'm going to put up on the screen their stock price as of right now when I'm filming. And you can clearly see the huge dip when they announced the logo change. So we'll have to see what happens over the next few weeks. But they definitely took a big hit when that originally happened. Man, I don't have the percentage drop, For some reason, I'm thinking they said it was around 10, but I could be lying because I didn't write it down. But you can see a pretty good drop. Thanks for watching Headlines, and thank you to everyone who's been sending my clips and links to your friends and family. I really do appreciate it. I'm Wes Austin. Good night.